Hey there, it's Stephanie Shea, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com with your December Astrological Overview. I can't believe I'm doing the very last Astrological Overview of 2020, and the next one will be 2021. What a year that we have had, and it has really been marked by some quite unusual astrology that we don't always experience. We had 6 eclipses total for this year. We're going to have the final eclipse of 2020 this month, and you can be happy to know that next year we only have 4 eclipses. So just that fact alone indicates some things settling down. There will definitely be more interesting developments to come. We're undergoing some evolution, I believe, as humans and kind of our whole planet. And the astrology kind of opened the door to new possibilities this year. And as we start out December, the first day of December, Mercury, which is planet of information and communication and learning, is in the sign of Sagittarius. It goes into Sagittarius December 1st, and it really will help for people with bold ideas, people who are ready to teach skills that they know. It's also really good for making new connections, and most likely beyond your local circle. There's an international feel to the sign of Sagittarius, which means if you have friends in other places around the world, it's a great month to reach out to them and stay connected. Now, Mars is moving forward in Aries this month. Thank goodness. Last month it stationed direct mid-month. And this month it's moving forward in the sign that it rules. That gives it extra power. And that means we have some extra power of initiation. Now, Mars will be forming a tense square to some of the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, that happen to be in Capricorn this month. But that still gives the opportunity to take on a challenge in a bigger way. There could be friction, no doubt, between people and authority figures, between people in their workplace and the people they work for. These are definitely themes, but it can also be a chance if you have wanted to achieve some of your big picture goals and you haven't had the motivation. It's almost as if you get that whether you're ready to get started or not. There's a real pressure involved that can be a positive type of pressure that lights your fire, that gives us that kick in the butt that we sometimes need. That's how I'm seeing this Mars in Aries squaring some of these outer planets in Capricorn. But again, there definitely could be some friction between people who are asserting their individuality, feeling that that is being limited by someone else that is in a position of power. And there's a lot of power dynamics at play. Now we've got the new moon in Sagittarius at 23 degrees, and this is on December 14th, and this is that final solar eclipse of 2020 I was telling you about. It's kind of exciting because we're out of the inner planet retrogrades and it's a solar eclipse new moon. That makes it a very powerful time to set intentions and initiate new ideas. Sagittarius is the fire sign, ready to take on new horizons. So think a big picture at this new moon solar eclipse, and I would even say it's a better time than New Year's Day to write down your New Year's resolutions, because this new moon solar eclipse has so much power in it to manifest new things that you would like to cultivate for yourself. Now, the day after this eclipse, on December 15th, the planet Venus enters Sagittarius. So you can see December is a very fiery month. It's very much dominated by Sagittarius. So Mercury is in Sagittarius. We've got the Sun in Sagittarius most of the month. And we also will have Venus in Sagittarius, which will last until January 7th. And Venus is a lot about how we attract what we want. It has to do with our values, with money, and with relationships, of course. If things have felt stagnant in the relationship department or the finance department, I think Venus and Sagittarius can help get things moving again. It could be a very exciting time. And again, it's always a good time for learning when Sagittarius energy is present. So if you've been thinking about taking some classes or even teaching some classes, you have the planetary support from Venus and Sagittarius. All right, the biggest event perhaps of the month besides the eclipse, maybe these are equal, is that the planet Saturn will move into Aquarius on December 17th. And 2 days later, Jupiter enters Aquarius on the 19th. And then on the 21st, they come together at the exact same degree in what's known as the Great Conjunction. This event has gotten a lot of interest over this past year. I made a video about it back in the spring. I saw it as a very noteworthy event of 2020, but I had no idea how much interest there was in the topic until I posted the video, and that's had by far the most views and comments and questions and people who are researching this topic. It's an area of fascination. And I think because it sets off some of these bigger astrological cycles. And both Jupiter and Saturn are very powerful outer planets as well. And so with Saturn ruling structures and authority and government, and Jupiter kind of magnifying and expanding, when they come together, I understood why some people were feeling maybe fearful about this. Does this mean, everything's going to end or we're going to collapse? I've gotten those kind of questions. And I don't interpret the astrology that way. I do think it's initiating a new cycle. Saturn and Jupiter haven't entered these air signs in a few hundred years. We had one Libra, Saturn, Jupiter conjunction back in the 80s, but pretty much has been dominated by earth sign conjunctions. So that makes this very noteworthy. There's also a lot of other bigger cycles that so many people have contributed on the comments, what they know about. It's a deep topic. So we know we're in for a big shift with this, and Aquarian energy is very innovative. So I feel that we're on the threshold of some new things that we might not have experienced as a world, as cultures, as humans, these type of things. But that is kind of where I'm going to leave it, because the door is wide open and there's such a spectrum of things that could happen. But I do have to say, I feel pretty confident that the world will not end on December 21st, 2020. I think it's more of a metaphysical shift that's really just getting started, and it will be unfolding. We're going to have Saturn in Aquarius all the way until 2023, when it officially will enter Pisces. Jupiter is going to spend most of next year in the sign of Aquarius. And so we could see advancements in technology, science. These are Aquarian ruled themes, humanitarian efforts. I'm a big fan of that. So for more information, if you haven't seen the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction video, please check that out. I'll be curious some things that you've researched on it. If you have questions or comments. Now, on December 21st, it's also going to be the solstice. And for Northern Hemisphere people, that's the winter solstice. For Southern Hemisphere, that is the summer solstice. Either way, this day signifies the sun moving into Capricorn. It's a really good time to evaluate the year. It's a slowing down time, absolutely, and determining what's next. You maybe are looking at the resources before you, at what has gone on this year, and deciding some things, some strategies of how you might want to proceed next year. So that's also occurring on the same day as the conjunction. It could feel like a powerful day, but again, these dates of these events, it never usually means one major thing is going to happen on this date. It's just the date that the shift begins going. Now, we've got our full moon at the end of the month. It is on December 29th, and it's at 8 degrees of Cancer. So knowing that the moon rules the sign of Cancer and emotions, very watery full moon here, you can expect that even if you're not a water sign, this may feel like an especially emotional full moon for you, and I think it will be a good time for people to do some self-care. There's a very nurturing energy present. A lot of people like to do full moon rituals. One nice thing to do, since it involves water and the sign of Cancer, maybe taking a bath, doing something that nurtures yourself, that allows you to shift your mindset to how you want to feel emotionally. You may not know the specifics of how you're going to get from A to B, but if you can picture the outcome from the standpoint of how you would like to feel, you can make the most of what might come to light for you at this full moon. And you could get some information about, well, what does feel right to you and what doesn't feel right? And you'll be able to make decisions from that vantage point as well. So, action-packed December, more to come next year. I want to mention that the 2021 sun sign predictions are available over at the janspiller.com website. These are kind of my baby. They're one of the bigger projects I do every year that I put a lot into. I analyze the astrology for the entire year ahead, and it's based on the outer planet motions, and I see how the outer planets are aspecting each sun sign. And you can use it for your rising sign as well, because you can kind of see how these planets might affect areas of your life. So it's really valuable to check out the report for your sun sign and your rising sign. And they are now done. So I'm ready for them to go out in the world and be received and hopefully be of help to everybody. So check that out. And I hope you can make the most of December's astrology. Be safe and be well. And I'll see you back here next month and next year with your overview.